of real examples. How blockchain is shaping the public sector. Mr. Paul Rieger, advocate of blockchain technology and head of business development for NEM Europe, Austria.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Paul Rieger. Well, today I will talk about how blockchain can actually solve the social benefit dilemma. So I work for NEM Foundation, which is an independent protocol that has been live on a public chain since March 2015, focusing on plug-and-play features and actually ease of development. So what is the problem? Well, you have little Alice. She wants to take a swimming course. And her parents receive social benefits in the form of cash payments. Now, unfortunately, there's a TV on sale, and her father decides, well, let's spend this money on a TV. So that means little Alice will not go swimming. She can't take the swimming course because it's not possible to direct the payments to the swimming course in this example. Now, wouldn't it be great if it was possible to have a solution where you can actually make sure that any government social benefit payments go directly to the intended cause? And little Alice can go swimming. I think that would be awesome. But back to reality. So right now there are two popular systems. One is cash payments and one is vouchers. Cash payments, of course, have high acceptance because everybody can use cash and spend it. At the same time, you cannot direct spending. So the problem is that it's intransparent. And that causes lots of issues, just like I just explained in the example. On the other hand, you have vouchers. Vouchers are great for directing payments into a certain direction, but the acceptance is low, because at the same time, when you issue a voucher, you need an acceptance point, and businesses don't want to wait months to get paid for the discount they provided, because they need to actually prove, okay, this was a valid voucher, and so on and so on. Now, maybe there's actually a third solution that can combine the two positive attributes of high acceptance and transparent spending, and maybe that solution can be a blockchain solution. So what I want to talk about today is actually a small project that, together with a municipality in Waalwijk, which is in the Netherlands, we proposed something with a local blockchain advocate, because they already do quite a lot of initiatives to tackle poverty. And they're quite advanced in connecting their IT systems for certain agencies, government agencies. So it looked like a good call well, good open call that we could participate in. So what's the approach? They have something called the Passweiser, which is a program that allows you to give vouchers to families that earn less than a certain amount per year. So they're eligible for these benefits. Now, Passweiser is already in existence in this municipality. So the idea is, well, if we want to make use of blockchain, we have to digitize Passweiser. Same time, we need to harmonize some data between agencies that are already existing, because it involves a few agencies to actually have, well, issue, in this case, a social voucher and use it. So the result should be that a user can use a product or service, perhaps a discount, perhaps for free, just using a QR code on a mobile app. Now, how does it work? Well, you have a registration process that's in Dutch. So first, a user would download an app, of course, and go through a registration process. In the current world, you actually need to fill out forms for every single initiative. The idea here is that you go through the application process once, of course, with your real details, your passport, and so on. You need to have approval by the government. There's no way around it. Otherwise, there can't be a link. Now, if they approve you as a user, there will be a link established on the blockchain. That means there will actually be an account that represents the user in the real world. Plus, there will be the municipality knowing that this account actually refers to a real person, but there will be no one in between that can verify that information. So this link is transparent on the blockchain, but it doesn't give away any information, and it doesn't cause any GDPR compliance issues whatsoever. Next up, well, how would you actually use it? So I'm a user. I get the Passweiser app. I will be seeing all the services that are available. Now, in this example, folks, you might have the swimming course I just mentioned before. you might have some other discounts. You can look at the app, select whatever is available to you, choose it, and apply. So what happens in this instance? Well, there's an automated approval process. This is only possible because the government already knows who is allowed to use which benefits. So what happens actually, when they set whichever social benefits they're going to pay out, they have already this acceptance criteria. And in the Netherlands, it's already all digital. So it's actually quite possible to combine these two systems. So they set who is eligible for what in the beginning. So the process of applying for something is actually automated. You don't need to have a manual check. Right now, if you actually go and want to apply for something, there is a manual check. You need to go to an office, and they will actually check, and you need to apply for that. So this automates this because it has already been decided, and it's automatic. So what happens? Now, if you want to use this, the user goes to a shop or any acceptance point that is part of the Passweiser program. They generate a QR code based on the request they originally issued, and that was approved automatically. Now, this QR code is a one-time use QR code, and it is actually working with blockchain. Now, in this whole example, I keep the blockchain part actually quite light, and for a very specific reason, because in this example, it's not important to slap blockchain onto something, but we only want to use blockchain to make a certain aspect of the whole process more efficient. So what happens here? The creation of the QR code, after it was approved, is registered on the blockchain. So there is actually a link to this voucher, to this one-time voucher. So we already have that as a shared source of trust. Now, if I go to the shop and I redeem the voucher, that will be registered as well. And since it's based on QR code, it's very easy to implement that in an existing system, because QR codes are already a common standard for vouchers and other mobile payment solutions. Now, once I have used this voucher, of course, it's registered. I can't use it twice. There are multiple ways to achieve this. One can be a token solution. One can be actually just transacting or recording multiple transactions that represent this voucher usage. But it's only these 2 points that are really needed on the blockchain, because I already linked identity of the user before. Now, for the businesses, what does that mean? The acceptance point. Before, you had to wait months and months because you needed to prove that you actually accepted something as like a social voucher from a person. In this case, since you already have the shared source of truth, payments can happen in a reasonable amount of time. That means instead of waiting months, it can be 7 days, 14 days, something like the normal common business world is used to. So you will have a lot more higher acceptance in this case. Now, of course, there's the question, should settlement also work on blockchain? In my opinion, in this example, no. You can represent payment to the business from the government for the vouchers they accepted on the blockchain, yes. But there's currently no real incentive to also put the payment on the blockchain, at least in my opinion, because then you also need to have the problem with a stable coin and so on and so on. So keep it simple, just focus on the voucher itself, have one shared source of trust that can be used to make this process more efficient. So, well, benefits are quite obvious. You definitely have less fraud if you use a system like this, for a simple reason, because you can't really abuse it so easily. Cash payments can unfortunately be misused. I don't want to say abused, but they can definitely be misused. In this case, only the person that actually holds their own app and that has been registered, it's actually part of their, they own this access to the vouchers. It's not someone else that can just take it away and use it and abuse it. So definitely a chance to reduce fraud. Well, obviously you reduce bureaucracy a lot, because you only need to sign up once, register once, only fill out forms once. In this case, it can actually be digital forms. You don't need to apply for every single process. And for the government, it's also a simplification, because you already reduce the number of records you need to keep, especially for the payouts to the businesses. You already have a record that is being kept. I mean, for double bookkeeping, blockchain is actually quite good. Well, you give some control back to the user, and this is great. And at the same time, you reduce the potential risk of exposing private data. because you don't need to have, well, first you don't need to have the many forms that could potentially be a risk. At the same time, the user doesn't need to always identify himself personally at acceptance points. It's already being taken care of because we use a common identifier that we share among all the participants. And the main benefit, of course, is that the user and the citizen will actually benefit from this because it has less friction. You have more choice because you can actually have more acceptance points. Businesses will be more likely to join this program if it's easy to use and it doesn't cause any issues in the normal business process. So for the end user, it's a great result. Now, what I just explained is something we proposed earlier this year, and I actually hope it will go into production. Of course, the municipality needs to decide that it's going to happen. But I think the key takeaways are here that actually the technology and the public sector, in my opinion, it's ready. You can already use it to implement something like this, and this is not a fancy concept. This is actually something very practical. We figured out the solution, the architecture. It's up to the municipality if they really want to go for it. There's, in my opinion, a good chance that if they're not going to do it, someone else will do it. So it's really up to the decision makers in this room and in other rooms that are considering doing something like this to go for it. At the same time, the NEM protocol in this instance offers a very good solution to implement something with already existing plug-and-play features. So you save a lot of time. So what I explained before, the parts that actually live on the blockchain, you don't need to invent something new. You actually use APIs that are already available, talk to the public chain, and you just focus on the application logic. In this case, it's the digitalization of the Passweiser, connecting it to the existing services that are already digital, and then basically connect it to improve this public use case. That's it from me. If you're interested in such use cases and you'd like to actually talk about it, please feel free to contact me. I think someone has to do this, at least in my opinion, because it's easy, but at the same time, the complexity is somewhat limited to a certain use case. So I would love to talk to someone in maybe also local municipalities. If they believe this could be something or something similar could be implemented, it would be great to chat. Thank you very much.